Tonight's true scary story is about a cult, and it's about a cult that you probably didn't know was a cult, and I didn't know was a cult. This is going to be shocking to a lot of people and probably very controversial. Please remember that I am just the storyteller. I am not going to give any opinions on this, but this is somebody's lived experience. I am going to give a trigger warning for domestic abuse in this. It does get pretty rough, so if you can't handle that, then please don't watch this video. I do have to say, to protect myself, that this is for entertainment purposes only. I do not know if this is factual, so entertainment purposes only. I'm going to call today's submitter Kendra for her own protection. That is not her real name, and the alleged cult is the Jehovah's Witnesses. She starts it off by saying many people do not think that Jehovah's Witnesses is a cult, but it definitely is, coming from somebody who was inside of it. She said the cult is dangerous in every way. There are thousands of sex offenders in very powerful positions. There is a lot of domestic abuse. The congregation that she was covered in was in an area in a small town nearby what was mainly home to ex-cons. They really did not like people at their doors, so they would often come to the doors naked with firearms. She says that Jehovah's Witnesses are very serious about controlling every part of your life. Clothing, the food you eat, and they were allowed very little contact with the outside world. They also have tactics to find out who lives in what house and all of the personal information about them. They will visit ex-cons and people who have lost loved ones more often because they are vulnerable. Kendra was born in Idaho, but they are active all around the world and have millions of followers. She says most people are familiar with them, but they think that they are just odd or a weird religion. They aren't allowed to say anything. They are kept from speaking freely, kept from going to school, kept from working from any positions in the government, and kept from working any full-time job. In more stricter areas, the men and women eat dinner in separate rooms. They keep them weak and poor. Her father left the cult when she was 3 years old. She said at that point, he also left her mother because she got too crazy. Everyone says that something has been wrong with her mother since she was 20. Her eyes are dark and she carries some sort of evil spirit in her. She said most of the members who have been in there for a long time carry that evil. The older brothers even speak of watching possessions and exorcisms. She spent her entire childhood in a highly controlled environment where if she misbehaved, she was told that God would unalive her. And if you cried too loud, you would be hit or strangled. She said she endured nearly every terrible thing a child can endure. Although she always had weird connections to things that no one else could see. Except for her grandmother. She was actually a practicing Satanist before she joined Jehovah's Witnesses. Her grandmother never gave up many of those practices, and going to her house in South Dakota, she could see and feel spirits. I'm talking about Kendra. Kendra's mother got married a week before Kendra moved out. She left Kendra alone to take care of her very sick grandparents for 2 months. When they came back, Kendra's mother's husband told her that she was only allowed to speak in the house if she hugged him every single time he entered a room. Then told her if she disobeyed any of these rules, she knew what would happen. You guys know I'm the biggest crybaby, and this story is going to make me cry. After he said that to her, he then slammed his hand down on the table hard enough to dent it. This is where it gets scary. Some point in Kendra's early teens, she gained a gift. She would see figures that would warn her of danger. Spirits would guide her through life. She moved out of her mother's house and into her father's house in 2023. Thank God. She said it was a terrifying move, but whoever was helping guide her made it very clear that if she stayed with her mother, she did not have much time left. She has 2 cars and 2 motorcycles, and anytime any of them get left on the street, a black cat appears on them that belongs to none of the neighbors. It will even be sitting on her car in the snow, and she can see that it's walked hundreds of times in circles around her car. That cat follows her. She'll see it around at night, even when she's 50 miles away from where she lives. She says that cat doesn't look right either. The eyes glow in the dark, as bright as headlights. It will stare into her eyes for 5 minutes straight, and then she will walk away and it'll just watch her leave. She doesn't think that this cat has anything to do with this, but she does believe that she is cursed. Crazy things will happen to her that she cannot cannot explain. The last 3 jobs that she's had, they've shut down within an hour's notice. Many people around her experience negative things too. And she says in the email, I really just want to know if any of your followers can help me find out how I can break this curse. Some other scary things that happened to her. So when she was 8 years old, her father, who had already left the congregation, gave her a stuffed animal. It was a white rat. She had 0 problems with it at his house. When she got to her mom's, she put it on the kitchen counter and her mom immediately said it was evil. She begged her mom to keep it and she finally let her take it into her room. Kendra then went to bed after her mother being very agitated about the stuffed animal being there. She fell asleep with it on her bed next to her and woke up with it sitting on a desk across from her bed staring at her. She then noticed it moved. She gets fairly scared and she takes it outside to the dumpster. When she came back inside, it was on the kitchen counter. She told her mom, panicked, and her mom took it in the backyard and burned it. She said that this happened a few times with stuffed animals given to her by non-Jehovah's Witnesses members. Kendra needed to go on walks at night. She wasn't allowed to, but she needed time to think. They lived in a seemingly safe and populated neighborhood. The first night, she went over to a walking path in her neighborhood that had trees on both sides. As she stepped in the path, maybe 15 feet, all of the street lights turned on except for one. She saw a black figure that looked to be about 7 feet tall, and then from behind her, she hears a voice say,
"Run, not here, run."
She ran out of that path and continued walking on the main streets. This started a year-long tradition of visiting that path almost every single night. The figure was always there, and sometimes there were maybe 2 or 3. They rarely spoke unless she walked into the path. The things they said were, danger, you need to be careful, and no. When she would do the door-to-door preaching with the Jehovah's Witnesses, she would sometimes end up at the doors of what is called pagans. They labeled anyone who believed in spirits, and the spirits at those houses would become visible through the windows. They were human-like faces that would creepily smile. She said the way that they would smile was just disturbing. The older brother or sister that would accompany her would say, "We are not welcome here. They are guarded by something much stronger than us." Kendra would often wake up at night to her mother and her grandmother in the living room. They would see shadow figures walking around their house, hear them at the windows, banging on the doors. She grew up with things like this being normal. They weren't allowed to talk about it though. They believed that spirits gained power through being mentioned. Kendra still experiences things to this day. At night, when she drives past where her mother lives, past the cult meetings, all the warning lights in her car will start flashing, and the alarm that the car makes when a door is left open will go off. And recently, her father shared an experience with her about a few years ago when he went into the woods with a spiritual group for a retreat. They had him stand at an edge of a platform on a tree and close his eyes. He then said that he saw everything about his daughter Kendra's life for the next decade appear before his eyes. That was 4 years ago, and everything so far has been spot on. That night that happened with her father, she woke up and heard banging on the side of the house. Almost like there was a thunderstorm, but there was no wind, no storm. She walked into the living room to find her grandmother laying on the couch and her mother sitting next to her grandmother. She asked them what was happening, and they just replied dismissively, saying that she was safe and that nothing out there could come in and hurt them because they were not welcome. She just sat on the couch next to her mom and watched TV until they got used to the sound, and then they went to bed. The figures were human-shaped, almost like they were made out of black fog. At night, the figures didn't say anything though, like they usually do, just scraping and banging sounds on the side of her house. She believes this happened because the cult itself is demonic. Allegedly, apparently, they have some ties to the Illuminati. Her family just wrote all that off as something bad trying to get them, but that God had stopped it. They did sit there for like an hour or two, pretending like nothing was happening while there's banging on the walls and figures everywhere. She said the only thing that saved her from this was her father, and that she will forever be in debt to him for helping her out of this situation, because he had to work incredibly hard to get her out. So go, Dad. She ends the email by saying, I've always had an interesting connection to things that other people can't see, and I would love to learn more about it. Oh, this one was tough, you guys. That is so horrifying. I cannot, when I was reading this email, I was like, I cannot believe what I am reading right now. Has anyone else heard of anything like this? Am I the only one who did not know this? Or I know this is alleged, it's alleged, but has anyone else heard of this before? And if so, do you have any suggestions of how she can get this curse off of her, or just how she can heal from this? Better yet, honestly, that's how she can heal from it. Kendra, I am so sorry that this happened to you. And honestly, I hope this video doesn't get taken down, but I felt like I needed to tell this story, like for her and for maybe others that are suffering. I just cannot believe this. Just what do you guys think? I want to know everyone's opinions on this, please. Whether you agree with it or not, I want to hear. But I do ask, please be kind to her. That's all I ask. On a lighter note, now I'm going to do my shout outs, my favorite part. My first shout out is going to Sailor Neptune 1000. You finished every single one of my videos. Do you know how much that means to me? Like, thank you so much. I truly appreciate that more than you could possibly understand. Like, that is incredible that you like my videos that much, and it means everything to me. Thank you. I love you for that. My second shout out is going to Stacks. I'm your favorite time of night. That is everything. You want to know why? Because like I said before, I told someone else this, but when I was getting clean from drugs, I got clean. It helped me to watch scary stories every single night instead of using, and that's how I got clean. I started watching scary stories at the same time that I would use. Not at the same time I would use, meaning like instead of using. And it became my favorite time of night. And so thank you so much. That means the world to me. You guys are the best. Like, I love you all so much. Thank you. I appreciate you so much. My name is Kaisa, and I tell true scary stories on here every other night. So if you like that, hit that subscribe button so that you can be notified every time I post a video. And if you appreciate my content and you like my work, it really helps my videos when you hit that like button, but only if you want to, okay? I love you guys so much, and I just need you to do 3 things for me. The first one is send me your scary stories, YouTube. The second one is have a safe night. And guys, what's the third one? Say it with me. Have a spooky night. Love you guys. See you in the next one.